right, well, good morning. Thank you for being here. It's a little chilly out there this morning, so I appreciate you being here. So I am Robyn Grable. I'm the creator of Veterans Ascend. At Veterans Ascend, we are breaking employment barriers by changing the way employers find and hire great talent. I am a veteran. I served for 9 years in the United States Navy. Don't hold that against me in this Army town.
Anchors away.
Thank you. Thank you. After I got out of the Navy, I spent the last 30 years in HR, a lot of recruiting, a lot of hiring. And in 2015, I left corporate America to focus specifically on veteran employment and the barriers between veterans and employers. And in 2018, we launched Veterans Ascend. So we know for employers that they're facing a skilled talent shortage, and it's really about the connections. But as it pertains to veterans, using the current technology, employers are missing out on countless opportunities to connect to the veteran talent pool. Less than 1% of HR managers have any military knowledge to help them understand how a veteran's skills fit into their organization, and 38 of the top 50 industries employ veterans at a lower pay rate than non-veterans. And one of the main reasons is the skills connection and understanding how that veteran's skills fit into their organization. So translating military experience into skills is not only an issue for employers, it really is an issue for veterans as well. We take our skills for granted. We're heads down doing what we're trained to do, what we're asked to do. We don't sit around and just make a skills list of everything that we're learning. It just doesn't come naturally to do that. So we take our skills for granted. We use infantry as the best example of this. When you think of infantry, you think of security, right? And a lot of people assume that people in infantry can't do anything other than security jobs. But when you look at the actual job description for someone in infantry, you'll see things like risk management, operational planning, equipment maintenance. There's a lot more that goes into our training than just our core title implies, and that's what employers are missing out on. So we're trained to do a lot more. In fact, every occupation in the military is trained to do more than just their core title because we're asked to fill in the gaps where necessary, and we bring that learning agility to the civilian marketplace. So you might be saying, aren't there plenty of skills translators on the market to help a veteran connect to an employer? Even Google has one. Those skills translators are simply titles translators. They take the veteran's title and provide them a list of jobs that are comparable to that title. They don't take into account the actual skills that go into that job and how that veteran can take those skills to a new industry, a new occupation, and they still require the veteran to apply first to get an interview using antiquated processes and outdated technologies that filter veterans out. So we started from scratch. We built a skills translation engine that uses unique data sets and algorithms to translate military experience into skills and connect those skills. Our solution does not use a resume, does not require the veteran to apply first to get to an interview. Instead, our technology evaluates the candidate's skills against the employer's skills needs. And by reversing the hiring process, we are connecting employers directly with skilled talent quickly and opening the doors for veterans to new industries, new occupations, new companies that need their specific skills. So by removing and eliminating the barriers of translating the military experience into skills for both the veteran and the employer, we are bridging the gap between the connections between the skills translation. We are the only service that provides and bridges this gap with the fast results, a direct connection to the military talent pool, simplified hiring process at a significant cost savings. We are cutting through the noise and making it so easy for both the veteran and the employers to focus on skills. Skills the employers need, skills the veterans bring to the organization. So traditionally, you can spend days, weeks, and hundreds of thousands of dollars wading through unqualified applicants to get to somebody, and you're not going to get to a veteran 95% of the time. In Veterans Ascend, within a couple of hours, you can have interviews lined up, knowing exactly what skills that candidate has against the skills that you need, knowing exactly where they're located or if they're willing to relocate, and what their salary requirement is lined up against the salary range of the position. I lost my train of thought. So, as an example, we had 2 employers sign up this week. Within 2 hours, they had created their account, created multiple job profiles, received instant matches to each one, reviewed and unlocked the contact information, and lined up 8 interviews. Again, all within 2 hours. That's how fast and simple it is. And again, at a significant cost savings. So we started development in May of 2018. In January of 2019, we kicked off with the employers and had immediate subscribers. We finished 2019 with 3,000 veterans in our program and 12 subscribers utilizing the program. For 2020, our strategic plan is to grow partnerships with aviation, aerospace industry, coalitions, alliances, manufacturing alliances, and construction industry coalitions, and people that can connect us with a large group of employers at a time. And then we're also connecting on the veteran side to veteran organizations within colleges and universities to grow our veteran population and help those veterans who go into college right out of the military connect with employment as soon as they're done with their schooling. Our service is free for all veterans, service members, Guard and reservists. It is a monthly subscription service for the employers. Again, very low fee compared to the costs associated with some of the other traditional job boards. I'm losing my train of thought this morning. I'm not sure why. It must be cold outside. So again, it is free, and we are planning this year to open up the channels for military spouses and all people with disabilities, anyone with a disability, not just veterans. So we're opening up those two channels this year as well. And we can use your help making those connections to those associations, veterans or manufacturing, aviation, aerospace, or construction industries. So we are revolutionizing the industry and changing the way employers find and hire great talent. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Yes?
So what are you doing to reach potential employers to come to your website?
So really it's going to events like 1 Million Cups and telling more people about us. It's just getting out, social media, spreading the word, connecting with HR groups. I'm part of SHRM, which is the Society of HR Management. I do some speaking engagements with the HR SHRM chapters in local areas. I have a class that I teach on translating skills and how easy it can be if people just take a couple extra minutes to learn how to do that. So it's just really word of mouth right now. But we've decided, again, because I can only be so many places at once, to partner with coalitions and organizations that have memberships of employers where we can create an advocacy out to a lot of different employers at one time. So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Are you aware there's a website where you can look at veteran-owned businesses? Because I think that would be a great target market for you.
Absolutely. Is it veteranownedbusiness.com or VOB.com? Is that the one you're talking about? I actually am. I'm on there. I'm also. We downloaded an SBA list of veteran-owned businesses, so we connect with those. Right now, we have a list of about 14,000 of those across the country. So we are a national program. We do have veterans in all 50 states and employers coast to coast. So, thank you.
Are you working with ACAP, Army Career Alumni, on Fort Bragg?
I am not.
Are you aware of that?
I was not.
Okay. I was a transition counselor at one point when I got out of the military, Air Force. So I don't use any big words.
That was my question too.
Yeah,
I'm always underwater. So.
They get several thousand folks getting out every week, and they're always looking in that. I don't know if I've got his card, but William McMillan is the guy that runs ACAP.
William McMillan.
Yes, ACAP. But it's Army Career Alumni Program, and as they're getting out within the last 6 months, they were building resumes and doing. But I'm sure they would welcome you to come and talk to us.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Have you reached out to any of the National Guard associations?
We have several of those. We do actually have connections on every military base, either an employment specialist or a TAP manager. We're not allowed in the TAP classes. That's the Transition Assistance Program classes. But we do have connections with the TAP managers. So we are, but it's again, you're building those relationships via email or phone calls. So we need to be more on site, and that's what we're planning for this year, is to hire veteran outreach coordinators that can actually be on base to build those relationships. But if you have any connections, would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Have you reached out to any veteran service organizations?
Absolutely. So we have connections with Wounded Warrior Project, the Paralyzed Veterans Association, Disabled Veterans Association, which are very misnomers because those organizations don't only help just the veterans with disabilities, they help all veterans. So just a side note there. But yes, there are thousands of them across the country, so we partner with them. Again, it's we're one resource for them to connect veterans to. Even though we're free, it takes building those relationships and keeping those relationships going to make sure that they recommend Veterans Ascend as their tool of choice. But yes, do you have one in mind?
Veterans Ascend, this is a national company.
It is.
And you just have a satellite office here?
We do not. All of our workers are remote.
Okay.
We've got somebody in Pennsylvania. We've got somebody in Kentucky. Another person in South Carolina. But we do everything remote. It's all online. But that's our goal for this year, is to hire more outreach coordinators that can be in pockets. We'll have a liaison for South Carolina and North Carolina that will visit all the bases on a regular basis.
Yes, that's where I'm going next. That's kind of a follow-up.
Yeah.
So where's the national office at?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I was going to ask also where your home base was, or whether you had an actual office here in town. There is the Cumberland County Veterans Council, which meets once a month, and it tries to bring together all veteran-related agencies and services. And the people that attend are all the VFWs, Hope Mills, Fayetteville, and other veteran resources. And you can come to a meeting once a month and meet all these people.
That'd be great.
That would be a great one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
The other thing is that here in town, there are lots of business get-togethers with the military, and one is coming up Thursday, a week from tomorrow, and it's the Building Business Rally, and it is for businesses, and you'll get one of these, Robyn. It's for businesses to learn how to contract with the military, but if you go, you'll see what businesses are
looking to do that. Absolutely. Thank you.
And let me tell you, and to support Linda, you really want to get in this.
Okay.
You need to get in here.
Okay.
Somehow, you guys need to be in here.
Okay. Awesome.
Because of the circulation
Okay.
of the up and coming, so
That's
folks
great.
know who you are.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, quick question on the job, I guess the employer end, because obviously, I mean, anybody who's ever looked for a job, there's lots of job boards out there. How are you building that value for your employers so that whenever they get an applicant from your portal, they know that it's worthwhile? Because there's a lot of scrapers out there that kind of dump a lot of things. Like, I won't mention names, but you know.
I probably have it. So first of all, there's no searching or applying for jobs on our program, right? So the veterans don't apply for jobs. We match them to the employers based on their skills profiles. And the employers also don't search our database. And our database is closed right now. It's just for veterans. So there's again, no applying, no kind of anonymous applying. They are really truly skilled candidates. And we're, again, cutting through the noise of all of that junk that you get when you put a post out there on traditional job boards. Trust me, I've spent thousands of hours going through unqualified applicants. What we're doing is cutting through that, and basically it's kind of Carvana, eHarmony for veteran employment. When you think about it, it's that simple. Veterans create their profile, you get their skills, put in their career preferences. Employers create unlimited job profiles, pick the skills they're looking for, and our algorithm matches the two. So it's really that simple. That's really how it works. So they're getting skilled candidates to look at versus unqualified applicants to wade through. Good question. Somebody else had a question. No.
I noticed your billing is structured around a concept called an unlock. What is an unlock? How does it happen? How does the whole process work?
Great question. So employers can create an unlimited number of job profiles. They receive matches to each one of those profiles. They can review an unlimited number of the matches that they get. It's the ones they want to call for an interview. They need to unlock their contact information. So we don't give them the name of the veteran or their contact information until they unlock it. So they don't know if the candidate is male or female. They don't know their ethnicity. They don't know their age. because we know those are one of the 3 top barriers for employment and discrimination. They don't get that until they unlock the contact information. That's what their subscription fee is paying for, a certain number of unlocks each month. Thank you. Great question.
And that,
Is that a single communication, or is that as many communications as necessary to determine whether they're a good fit?
So they can review an unlimited number of the matches. We tell clients to review the skills first, look at the skills that you have on your list compared to the skills the veteran brings, because they're going to match on a number of the skills that the employer is asking for, but they're going to have a lot of other skills that they bring to the organization. So we ask them to look at those first, then look at the location. Where is the veteran located? Are they willing to relocate if they're not right here in Fayetteville? Are they willing to relocate here, and do they need relocation assistance? Our profile will tell them that information. And then you look at the salary requirement. What are they requiring compared to the salary range you're offering? And if all those 3 things line up just perfectly, because our algorithm takes a lot of things into consideration, and it may be that your minimum salary is the employer's maximum salary, but it still aligns, it's in that range, right? But the employer's not willing to say, I can't bring you in any lower than, or any higher than what I'm offering. So they'll dismiss that one, and they get a new match. It's the ones that truly line up perfectly, located here, skills, salary's great, unlock the contact information, call them for an interview.
so as a monthly subscription service, then it sounds like you're mostly looking for employers who are continuously hiring, right? Or is there an opportunity for, I've just got this 1 or 2 really hard to fit things and I just need to subscribe until I get this filled?
So it's kind of both. It is a monthly subscription. There's no contract.
Okay.
So they can come in and out as they need, as their hiring needs change. All their information will stay in our program. So if you create all your jobs, fill them, leave for a month, and come back the next month, it's all still in there. They don't have to recreate all of that. But what we encourage employers to do is create every job in your company and start to see the bench that's available. Because when somebody gives you 2 weeks' notice, the average time to fill that job is 45 to 60 days. Within 2 hours on our program, you could have interviews lined up and know the candidates that are out there. So we encourage employers, because there's no additional fee to create every job in their company, and to continuously be looking to see, because our fees are so low, it really pays to just use it as a continuously bench foundation. And succession planning as well, being able to understand who's leaving, who might be retiring, all those kind of things. So it's kind of both. They can come in and out, or we encourage them to stay and be able to create more opportunities for veterans. Great question.
My question is, being a veteran, as I've been trained in multiple MOSs, so will all those MOSs be brought into consideration?
You can choose multiple MOSs in the program. We give you 15 for each MOS, and then you need to pare that down to a total of 25 skills on your profile. That's the max you can have on your profile. So there'll be some duplication. So some MOSs have similar skills associated with them. So they'll duplicate those out, and then you have to kind of pare it down to 25, but you can pick multiple occupations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Do you do any type of screening, or do you just rely on the candidate's honesty?
We rely on the candidate's honesty. We do have an attestation checkbox that says I am a veteran. I attest to the fact that I have served. And we do ask them if they've had, above a general discharge. We take their word for it. We are simply making the connection. Once the door is open for the interview, it's up to the veteran to actually do what they say they've done, have done, and be able to talk about their skills. But yes, we don't verify anything. We are in a next release going to be able to upload VMET, which is the Veterans Military Education Training record, if you will. The problem with that, it's not available for pre-9/11 veterans, but that will verify some. We started to go down the path of having the DD-214, which is their documentation when we get out, but we don't want to house sensitive information in our program. We're trying to avoid that. Great question.
So, the only time that you get paid is when somebody unlocks The candidate?
No, we get paid a monthly subscription fee. So they pay that up front for a certain number of unlocks, and that's a recurring fee until they cancel.
But that's your only revenue stream?
It is.
I'm just going to ask you, you also asked them questions about security clearance, because that's a very big
Yes.
thing. If I can hire someone that's already got a TS, then that saves me 6 months and $50,000.
Absolutely. So that is on the profile. We do ask the veterans to indicate the level of clearance that they do have. We also ask them to indicate if they're still in the Guard or the Reserves. And the employers can see that on their profile as well.
Do you reward the companies that hire? In other words, what I'm saying by that is, say I buy a prescription for 10. If I keep going and keep going, if I don't find something soon, then I'm probably going to get disinterested. But if I hire somebody and you find out about it, you say, well, we were going to give you an extra free 5 or something. I don't know. It's just rewarding success, because that will go back and.
We haven't thought about that. It's a good idea. We do have an indicator. They can come back in and say they've hired someone. If we're reliant on that HR person to come back into the system and do that, unfortunately. They've got a lot of other things on their
Throw
plate.
them a bone when you get back.
But absolutely. We certainly look at that. We are also in the next phase of the program putting in the tax credit. So the veteran will, from our program, be able to go out and calculate the tax credit that they could be eligible for, or the employer could be eligible for, and that will be on their profile as well. So the employer will be able to see that by hiring this veteran, they could be eligible for anywhere from $2,400 to a $9,600 credit. So, yes.
You said that you're looking to open this up to military spouses, but spouses don't have an MOS. So how does this whole translate?
We'll translate civilian occupations for the military spouses, including stay-at-home parent. As we know, that's one of the biggest barriers for spouses. If they stay at home to support their family and their service member, going back into the workforce, how do they translate all the skills that they use while they're supporting the home? We know that's a huge barrier. So, and the employers don't see the actual title of the person, so they won't see that you chose I'm a stay-at-home parent, but they'll only see the skills associated with that occupation. Great questions.
What's your largest type of employer that you've been attracting? What type of industry?
So right now, probably the biggest one is manufacturing. Because we started out in South Carolina, I've got a lot of contacts there. Because I started really this kind of focus in 2015, I've made a lot of contacts in South Carolina. There's a lot of manufacturing in South Carolina, so we have a lot more manufacturers. And that seems to be a great fit for veterans as well, because there's a lot of skills in the manufacturing industry that veterans can fit into. So that's been our biggest. And construction, that's another big industry for us. We are partnered with, I don't know if you are familiar with HBI. They've got a group here on Fort Bragg. Home Depot Foundation pays for veterans service members to go through their construction certification process. So we have connections with HBI, and there are 8-10 locations now. So, but yeah, construction and manufacturing have been the two biggest.
Well, construction is going to be important because there's already a skills gap, and it's going to get even wider the next few years.
Absolutely.
So that's a strong one. A couple other ones, logistics would be, because you always need logistics people.
Absolutely.
And defense contractors. You go after
Yes.
some defense contractors because they love to hire veterans because you already have a certain knowledge and skills that they need.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And from compliance perspective, they're required to hire a certain number of veterans to stay compliant with their federal contracts. So, absolutely. Great ideas.
This is certainly the city for them.
Yes. Are you hooked in with Booz Allen?
I actually just interviewed a couple of veterans from Booz Allen for my podcast. So we do have, I'm connected very, very well with their military recruiter there. So absolutely. But if you have another contact, I'm happy to take it, because the more people that know about us, the better.
How about L3 Communications? Are you working with them?
Sounds familiar.
L3 Communications. I worked for them for 2.5 years.
Yeah, any contacts you have would be great.
Those guys are the logistics on the brag.
Okay.
They
Sounds
also
familiar.
have IT contracts with Bragg.
Okay.
And K3 Enterprises.
I'm sorry.
K3 Enterprises.
General Dynamics.
They got that on base too.
Those are some of the big contractors on post. They would gladly scoop up soldiers that come, especially ones coming right off the brag. They already have security clearances or accesses that the average person wouldn't have.
Right.
If you go to the Chamber of Commerce, they have MAC, the Military Appreciation Council. They're actually doing a lunch today on getting in with contractors on this.
Awesome, thank you.
While you're in town.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Just a
awesome.
few thousand soldiers. Yeah. Just a few thousand soldiers on a small base next door.
Exactly. Absolutely. Awesome.
But they would be like a central kind of hub. That's what they specialize in connecting what you're trying to do right now.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's great. Awesome. Any other questions?
Let me ask you, you're from Greenville?
Not originally, but that's where I live now.
Okay. So there's not an area rep for your company here in the Fayetteville area?
There should be.
For sure.
Is there one in North Carolina?
Not yet. We are hiring somebody this year to be
We have
that.
the largest base on the East Coast, along with Tampa Lagoon.
Absolutely. Very, very aware. It's in our plan.
Okay. Might have somebody in mind just to join the company.
That'd be great. Yeah,
I know
let me know.
Wilmington has some Navy guys out there probably actually.
I know
Yeah,
the
Coast Guard
opportunity
too.
for some veterans that are transitioning out would be to check into franchisors. Some of them have very good discounts on getting started up. We're actually doing a franchise expo for veterans on March 13th and 14th here at Fayetteville. So that would be something else you could check into.
Sure. Thank you.
We also have what we call a transition center here, where they help veterans who are coming out to get short courses in certain fields so they can bone up on civilian world of the same kind of thing they're working in.
Okay.
So that would be a good connection because most of those folks go right into a job.
Now, would Tony know about that?
Yes,
Okay.
he probably would.
Perfect.
And if not, I can give you an answer.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time this morning. I
Any
appreciate it and
other
all the great
questions?
feedback.
Any other questions?
Lori's got one.
I have,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
take the last question.
Sure.
What can this community do for you?
Again, it's really just about the connections. Telling people about us, telling veterans about us, telling organizations that want to hire veterans, coalitions or associations, any connections that we can make to make people aware that we're out here, that we're different, that we're doing what we're doing. So that's really the big ask. That'll help us grow. Thank you.
So much, Robyn.